Listener discretion is advised.
So as you may have interpreted, I intentionally misunderstood the assignment to broaden my case selection pool. Mostly because the stuff I kept finding was stuff we'd already covered in the end. That's why we drink crossover. And I can only talk so much about cheap wine wearing expensive labels before my ADHD has me going down a TikTok rabbit hole instead of writing. So
we also covered a bunch in that episode.
We really did. So I wanted to.
It was a two-parter.
It was. Yep. I wanted to explore a different vineyard today, Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, ever heard of it?
And a passable villain therein.
Oh, Martha.
Martha's Vineyard is a quaint, I have been drinking, and wealthy island off the coast of Massachusetts, just south of Cape Cod. It has been a favorite spot for the wealthy elite to vacation, shop, and sail. And if you've ever seen a belt with little cartoon whales all over it, then you know exactly the demographic I am talking about.
Men wearing pastels, women only wearing neutrals.
White, yeah.
Quick anecdote about
with a
that.
navy or beige stripe.
Yeah. So what's it called? Vineyard Vines, right?
Uh-huh.
I had never heard of that before.
Yep.
So when I went to Charleston with my mom and my sister a couple years ago, I was going to secretly visit Kenyon on my way home. So I bought this weird little gold puka shell bracelet from this place.
It's cute.
And then I got her the same one because they were on sale.
Because you share a
buy
soul.
one, get one free.
Because I knew she'd like it.
I do.
Because I liked it.
I thought about this bracelet earlier today.
Yes, I know.
We are the same.
So did I. I know. So it came, she put it in this little suede bag that had like vineyard vines on it or whatever. I didn't know. For all I knew, it was a boutique. I didn't know.
She didn't know it was a brand.
And I gave it to her and she was like, "You got this at Vineyard Vines?" I was like, "Yes, you bougie bitch. I don't know what that is."
I didn't either.
She laughed. She mocked me for it.
I mean, it's worth mocking you for because you were a literal sailing instructor in Minnetonka. But it was popular at our high school.
I see it now, the whale belts and whatever, but we don't have those stores here.
It was
like our sailing school was very Helly Hansen, Abercrombie, very Midwest.
That's
Helly
fair.
Hansen was the status brand at our sailing.
Yeah, it was
establishment.
Not Vineyard Vines.
And I did have a boyfriend buy me a Helly Hansen rain jacket. It's fine.
I had a boyfriend buy me
You guys,
those sunglasses.
you guys.
Okay.
I'm shutting this down.
Fine.
This case takes place. I am shutting this down.
I have so many more anecdotes about Vineyard Vines.
No.
Let's do Vineyard Vine crimes.
This case takes place long before Vineyard Vines was established as a fashion line. So let's go back to November of 1937. 22 years after Helen was born. I will never stop using her as a timeline icon.
She's a cornerstone at this point.
She is. She is my lunar and solar calendar.
She's the birth of Jesus.
She's the farmer's almanac.
Yeah, she's my farmer's almanac. I'm going to start using years B, H, and AH. At about 1:30 a.m., I'm totally doing it. Fucking 1937 AH, 22 AH. At about 1:30 a.m. on a foggy Vineyard Sunday, 28-year-old Manuel Phillips went for a walk on the beach. It may sound odd that he take a walk in the dead of night, but his walk held a specific mission: to pick up scallops during low tide, right after a storm had come through the coast that would have kicked the scallops up to shore. So he really isn't a
scallops.
creep. Yeah, they're delicious.
Yeah, there's a purpose.
He's just hungry for that high quality seafood.
Blackened scallops over some linguine. Hi.
A little chimichurri sauce too. Yum.
Fuck me up.
Yeah. So on his walk, he discovered more than a scallop, however. He found the nearly nude body of an adult woman laying in the surf.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Keep up.
segue is ridiculous.
Real question. If you are a
Hot and
person,
scallops.
if you're a person of color, I'm assuming from the name Manuel, and you're in the middle of the night alone walking on a beach and you find the dead body of a woman,
What do you do?
you're putting yourself at very great risk reporting it.
I
It depends on whether you have an alibi of where you were 5 minutes ago or
I
not.
wouldn't blame any person of color for any reason not wanting to contact the authorities ever.
Yeah.
Right.
He did call the police, and by some fucking miracle was not implicated in any of this. He finds her body. She appeared battered and in shocking disarray. Quote, "When I saw it was a body," Manuel said, "I began running to tell the police. All she had on was a stocking on the left leg and a pink girdle." Sounds like my grandmother.
Yeah.
She had very black hair, but some of it was worn out, probably by the tide and sand, so that only tufts were left. It gave me quite a scare.
Oh my God.
I know, this poor guy.
Jesus.
Both of her arms were above her head, he said, and she was covered with bruises. It was clear her body had been in the water for several days.
Ooh.
Investigators collected her remains and surveyed the area for evidence. The woman was a Jane Doe, appeared to be in her 40s or like late 30s, and must have come from some wealth because she had expensive gold dental work. There wasn't much evidence found on the beach, just a single blue suede pump heel, hi honey, that matched Jane Doe's foot size.
But she was presumably she washed up, or she was on the
Yes.
beach for that long.
She washed up. But if she went in clothed, then some clothing
Maybe
items
one
may have washed
shoe
up
had
as well.
clung until the very end.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just, okay, until the end. Okay.
Yep. So medical examiners found evidence of assault with a blunt object, possibly, as well as a bruise and small hole over her right eye, which they also suspected might possibly be a bullet hole. It's the fucking 30s. They're like, I don't know, it could be this.
Yeah.
But it also could have been caused after her death from being tossed around in the rough water. Because remember, there was a storm just like a couple days ago.
Yeah. And there's rocks and
there's
who
creatures.
knows? Yeah.
Snacking.
Coral.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it really couldn't be determined. During the autopsy, no water was found in her lungs, suggesting that she was dead before she entered the water. It looked like from the autopsy that the majority of her external injuries were judged to have been caused after her death. So there's a window where you can still kind of
Bruise a
bruise
little bit.
and
Yeah.
you don't really bleed, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The autopsy left police uncertain as to whether her cause of death was murder or suicide or accidental, but the police theory was murder. Without additional leads on her identity, police began to seek input from the public, who pointed to missing socialite Alice Mcdonald Parsons. Alice was 38 years old and a well-known New York socialite. She had disappeared from the 11-acre estate that she resided in on Long Island with her husband, William Parsons,
Long Island.
who came from wealth and had dreams of being a gentleman farmer, which I guess is like a fancy hobby farm.
Weird.
Wouldn't
I
that
want
be
to be
nice?
a gentleman farmer. I know, right? When Alice disappeared, a note was found on the front seat of her car addressed to William. The note demanded a $25,000 ransom, and the case blew up so much that J. Edgar Hoover himself was compelled to step up and run the investigation.
That old chestnut.
That old chestnut.
That old ball sack.
Literal ball sack. They'd had a lead in the case in the form of an anonymous phone call that claimed Alice could be found at Robinson's camp at Menemsha, which is a harbor on Martha's Vineyard. A massive police detail arrived to comb the area and found absolutely nothing. They determined this was a false lead, and it wasn't clear to me if they were some of her remains, her as a person, some of her items. I don't know exactly what this phone call, this tip.
It's not like they had a home on Martha's Vineyard. She went missing from Long Island, and then they got a tip that there was some connection to this camp outside of Martha's.
Yeah.
It's on Martha's Vineyard. It's
Martha's
on
Vineyard.
the island. So they're like, this could be her.
Okay.
So they comb the area, they find nothing, and they determine that this is a false lead because, like, it sounds like the tip alluded to something very specific, whether it's her physical person or something relating to her physical person in this specific spot, and there's nothing there. So they were like, fuck this. Now the story of Alice Parsons is wild, but this woman who washed ashore was not Alice.
Oh,
But
shocking.
I will be
Oh.
flagging that case for another episode because it is bonks and I want to cover it.
Well, how interesting. Okay.
And another woman who had gone missing in Providence, Rhode Island was considered a potential match for the body as well. But alas, this was also not the case. One item collected off the body kept intriguing investigators. And all of this happened over the course of like 4 days. So it's not like this was dragging on and on.
Got it.
But they had found a wedding ring with the inscription RBS to EHN. February 14th, 1916.
Valentine's Day.
Engrave all your jewelry.
Seriously.
Engrave
this
it. Engrave it.
This is literally
You
how
never
they
know when it will be evidence.
Right. This is how they were able to identify her. Otherwise, I don't know if they ever fucking would have.
That's
Yeah.
so wild.
Eventually, these initials connected to another missing socialite, Ellen Shackelford, formerly Nicholson. So
Everyone's a
EHN.
socialite.
I know. Well, it was
God.
women in the 30s.
Yeah, any rich
Yeah.
woman
Yeah, they're
at
not
the
allowed
time,
to work.
Yeah, their only career path was socialite.
Yep.
That would be awful.
So
Can you
Ellen's
imagine? I'm not suited.
no.
I don't
I'm
know.
social
like
and I don't want
leaving
to
my
do it.
house.
No. The
I'd be a
obligations.
spinster immediately.
Oh, I would be burned at the stake
Like
for being
Recluse.
accused of witchcraft in the 30s.
Straight to spinster.
Infamous recluse.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Yorlarg.
A Kennedy.
Gray
Gardens. Big Edie right here.
Gray rooted gardens.
So her ex-husband, Randolph B. Shackelford, RBS, arrived in Martha's Vineyard and identified his ex-wife. So he came to the vineyard with Ellen's brother. The police were like, hey, dude, you don't want to look at this body.
Oh.
So, like, we need you to identify some of her belongings to confirm that it's her, but
this
you
can't be your last memory of your loved one.
Yeah, and
Of
Randolph
even
was
your
like,
ex-wife.
right. But they, they had a child together. Like, I get it. So he
fair.
was, he
Seeing
was
a
like,
total stranger like that would be
Right.
traumatizing.
And
Let
he was
alone
like,
someone
cool.
you know.
I won't look. And the brother, God bless him, was like, I'll look and make sure it's my sister. But she was such a wreck. And at this point, she had decomposed considerably and she'd been in the water for God only knows how long. It was
Yeah.
like impossible to actually ID her from looking at her.
Oh, God. I can't imagine.
But she was
I
wearing,
can.
she was
and I
wearing
am.
this ring. And the ex-husband was like, that's the ring. She had another ring on that he was like, yes, that's hers. And
That's
like
our
the
wedding date or something.
Yeah, that's our wedding date. And the few clothing items that remained, he was able to identify. So like, this was her. There's no doubt.
The middle initials really help.
So Ellen was a bit of a baddie, as the TikTok folks would say. The two of them were married in 1916. So I guess it wasn't their wedding date. It was probably like, oh no, it was their wedding date. JK. I got February 14 in 1916 mixed up because I'm drunk. So they were married in 1916, Ellen settling into her new wealth as the wife of a successful Philadelphia businessman.
I could do that. I could definitely settle into my new wealth.
Yes, I could. I am still waiting.
I am ready. I'm available.
My partner is a freelance
Ready to settle.
photographer. So
My partner is
a
an
teacher.
educator.
Yeah.
Yeah, was a teacher.
Yeah. So
Mine is a cook.
we're nailing it. Start a podcast, everybody. So the two had a daughter together. The fairy tale ended in 1931 when Randolph and Ellen got divorced, and the socialite went on a bit of a bender.
Get
As
it.
you do.
As you do. Well, little socialite bender
Get
moment.
yours, Ellen.
That's what I'm saying. She was arrested in Atlantic City for drunk driving, which is a no-no.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. And then again in Philadelphia after she was in a car accident and police found a half pint of whiskey in her handbag.
Okay, Ellen, if you have
Oh.
money, just hire a driver and then you can drink as much as you want, girlfriend.
Well, whether or not
Did
she
she have
had
money?
money is kind of up for debate.
'Cause
The
they're
husband
divorced.
had money.
Yeah.
And so, and I mean, we'll get to it. We won't get to like exactly how she lost all of the money, but like they're divorced and she doesn't have access to all
the
of those funds
30s.
anymore. It's the 30s. So the Philadelphia Social Register banished her for being an embarrassment, and she had lost everything, her status, her marriage, and I'm pretty sure Randolph even had custody of their child.
Oh.
So she moved into a hotel in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and spent a couple years escaping it all with cruises to Italy and Russia. But she ran out of cash and owed bills at hotels in both Philly and New York. Her daughter, Suzanne, had been trying to contact her for weeks, and multiple unopened telegraphs were found at the hotel in Philadelphia where she had been staying. She had left the hotel, however, after they had threatened legal action against her for not paying for her stay. So she'd basically been kicked out.
Yeah.
And
You
she
should be able to just
squatting.
stay at hotels for like months and then eventually they'd kick you out.
Right.
But
And
you could have a
then-
good run.
Yeah, and investigators are like, you can't have a good run. I mean,
sweet run.
honestly, even now, like you don't necessarily get charged until you leave. So like,
Well,
just cancel
Yeah.
that credit card on your last day. and see
Well,
what
yeah,
happens.
you can't
Oh
do that
my
very
God.
often. Can't just cancel credit cards
cancel
very
your
often
credit
without
credit card
repercussions.
on your
I mean, you
last day.
super could. It got stolen. I don't know. Anyway, I do not approve of these charges.
by a different bitch with blue hair. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people have fucking blue hair.
I wasn't
And-
there.
I was not there.
Prove it.
And
Why are you
two
getting
will-
involved, J. Edgar Hoover?
You two will fucking vouch for me. Fuck off, J. Edgar Hoover. You're a dick.
She was with me.
Stop
Thank you.
inserting yourself, J. Edgar Hoover.
We were doing puzzles.
Okay, well, we
Mind
were.
your
though.
fucking own.
Stay in your fucking lane.
Stay
So
fucking
now that they
put
knew
it in
who
the
she-
burn book.
put it in the book. Put it in the burn book.
J. Edgar has a whole chapter.
Oh.
We are definitely putting J. Edgar Hoover in the fucking burn book. Fuck that guy. Anyway, God, I haven't been this drunk since K-pop.
I know.
So
I've
this is
only
fun.
had 2.5 glasses of wine.
You guys, I
I'm
am
lit.
I
exhausted,
busted my dry January, that's for sure.
exhausted and drunk, and I have Taco Bell all root.
Oh, real?
So
Okay.
now that they knew who she was, investigators began building a timeline of events leading up to her being found on the beach. This case is such a mystery. Like, I just fucking love it. On October 30th, her father was hit by a car, and ended up in the hospital in
And
Delaware
it
with a
flipped 5
fractured
times,
hip.
and Tom confronted the burglar.
Oh my
and then
God.
got surgery.
Wait.
So
wait,
yeah, I have been under a lot of stress.
Wait,
Say I've
I'm
been
look-
under a lot of stress.
I'm looking up the exact quote.
And then
I ordered
eye
a T-shirt
surgery.
off.
I have
Etsy.
a journal, but it's upstairs. Erica Jane stress story. Quote.
Zoom.
Here it is. Tom's house was broken into and he confronted the burglar, and then he had to go have eye surgery, and then my son had to go over and help, and then my son, he rolled his car 5 times on the way home. Yeah, I'm under a lot of stress.
I love it on that like beaded necklace. That's like
Guys,
20 layers.
the
deep.
fucking in this house, we believe that Tom's house was broken
I'm
into
looking
and he confronted the
online.
burglar.
In this house, we believe. I ordered a T-shirt off
Oh my
Etsy that
god!
says it.
Oh, it's a download.
You guys,
$5
you can
download.
Download it and then just have it printed and support your local print shop.
yeah.
Who's my local?
You can have it
shop?
printed here in Minneapolis at Minuteman
Google
Press. Or you can just fucking take it to a FedEx, Kinko's.
I'm just
Make
ordering
Corey
it.
Hillman printed it All Colors LLC.
You could
It's woman
send
owned.
it to her. Okay, so
Clean
on
that up.
October 30th, her father was hit by a car, and he confronted the burglar, and then her son had to go and help, and then her son, he rolled his car 5 times.
Five times.
He was in the father was in the hospital with a fractured hip,
and eye surgery.
and then he had to have eye surgery.
He was in the hospital with eye surgery.
With eye surgery and a fractured hip. Ellen went to visit him there. and spent a couple of days leaving without paying the bill for her hotel in Delaware. Big pattern. But her brother claimed that she was, quote, in good spirits when she left.
Drunk.
You're drunk, probably. On November, but like, who am
She
I to
was
judge?
loaded.
I love
I don't
her.
know.
I don't condone driving
the
drunk.
club.
But
No.
like Ellen, honey, had demons. She's trying to figure it out.
It's
She's
the
trying to figure
30s.
out her life.
Cars went like 15 miles an hour.
She's a
That was a joke. We do not condone drunk
They
driving.
ran on corn syrup. Let's be honest.
We
I
all
fucking
know-
wish that would be more economical
We all
than
know
coal.
that Matthew from Downton Abbey died in a car accident and it was like 1918. Okay, so it's fine.
Well, yeah, in the 30s they like didn't have seatbelts, and you were just like in a buggy with a
They didn't
with,
have
a
like
cloth top.
roofs.
Yeah,
It was like
a
not even a
draped-
windshield.
It was like a draped
It wasn't
sheet.
safe.
It's not great.
It was like a Tommy gun attached to the side. It's
That's the
ridiculous.
horn.
It was
That's the
powered by
horn.
cannon.
It's the horn.
You literally just put gunpowder in the fucking exhaust pipe
Gunpowder
and
and
then
lead.
shot as far as you could straight.
Jesus, take the
They're
wheel.
just Flintstone feet.
You guys. None of this is funny. Okay. On November 1st, a pocketbook seemingly belonging to Ellen, because it had the initials in there.
Yep, and the
Was-
date.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, no, the pocketbook, not the ring.
Okay.
The pocketbook. We fucking monogram everything in the 30s.
When you say
okay?
pocketbook, are you
like a
talking about a
purse.
wallet or a full purse?
I think
Because
it's a-
pocketbook means different things.
It
Yeah.
really does, and I don't know in this case.
I'm
Speci-
picturing wallet.
I think it's a wallet, but it also could be, I don't know how involved wallets
Like a
were.
rectangular
Bag with
large
Like a
wallet.
clutch.
It
Let's
could have
go
been like a
with
clutch. I'd imagine it's like a clutch.
We'll split the difference, go with the clutch.
Oh my God, I just burped. Okay. You saw it hit. You saw it hit. Subscribe to our Patreon. The pocketbook contained a letter addressed to a hotel manager in Philly where Ellen had an outstanding bill where she'd been kicked out. The letter was signed by Ellen, and police claimed the letter, quote, hinted at suicide. So it's probably like, hey, hotel, I know you're taking legal action against me and that I owe you a lot of money, but
Good luck.
I'm gonna probably
See you on the other side.
end my shit.
Bye-bye.
So, bye-bye. Good luck. You're not gonna find me.
I'm going to check out permanently.
Yeah. Dunstan checks out. But I don't have a copy of the letter, so I actually can't like specifically verify that. But I have to imagine that's almost verbatim what it said.
I can't think about a chimpanzee in this context.
You can't? A chimp with a pocketbook writing letters to
I mean,
hotels
I
in
can,
Philly?
but I shouldn't because it's really dark and
She's checked out.
inappropriate.
But they
Dunstan
couldn't
checks
Oh.
out.
But they couldn't figure out
Permanently.
exactly how the pocketbook made its way on board the steamship. So they find it on this steamship that goes back and forth from Providence, Rhode Island to New York. It's like a commuter ship. And they're like, what the fuck? She's not on the passenger roster
Like a
for the
ferry.
last. Yeah, it's like a ferry.
Yeah.
She's not on the passenger roster for the past, 2 weeks that we're trying to establish this timeline. And nobody on the boat had seen her. Like, no one could confirm that she'd been there.
No
So-
chimpanzees
Well,
on this
No
maybe
ferry.
it was
chimpanzees.
Just her pocketbook.
Well, had the pocketbook been stolen by her murderer and left on board?
Oh.
We may never know for sure. We also may never know what happened in the 2 weeks between October 30th, when she was last seen by family, and November 14th, when she was discovered in Martha's Vineyard.
Special thanks.
Almost, but we got a little more. Her body was certainly battered by the sea and decomposed, but not to an extent that would suggest that she was in the water for that length of time.
Oh.
So here's what I think, and we will speculate. I think she did ride the ferry, possibly under a pseudonym and like with a headscarf on. Because like, who's fucking in the 30s paying attention to like a woman? Like a white
Literally
woman.
no one.
Literally, you could do the least, and
Right.
it would be a disguise, and you
That's
can
what I'm
change
saying.
your name. Yeah.
Exactly. So like, maybe
Yeah.
she should just fucking left her pocketbook there as a hint. And
or
then
on accident.
or by accident, and went on with their life. I don't know.
Well, okay. Question though, what you just said. So she was decomposed, but they thought that it wasn't decomposed in the water for that long.
Incorrect. Yes, for that long. They don't think she was in the water for 2 weeks. But they know
So
she
are
was.
they thinking that she partially decomposed on dry land and then was in the water?
No, she's decomposed for X amount of days in the water, but not 2
Or maybe
weeks
she
worth of
just
days.
hadn't been dead since
Correct.
the 30th. She had
Correct.
died more recently
So
to
they
November
can't-
14th.
Exactly. They can't pinpoint like the day of death because it's the 30s. So forensics are like,
And if she's like on the run because her name and whatever reputation, she's not paying her bills, then it'd be hard to know her exact date of death. It wouldn't be her last date scene.
exactly.
Got it. Okay.
So like they know that she died and then was in the water for probably between 3 and 5 days, but she was not in the water for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Because she
Got it.
was at least in the water long enough to have been in that storm, which the storm hit on Friday, and Manuel found her on Sunday morning. So she was so like
okay.
she went into the water likely before the storm, but was probably in the water for at least 3 days.
Got it.
So I don't
Gotcha.
know. So within a month, Boston medical examiner Dr. Timothy Leary concluded his secondary investigation of the
Timothy
remains.
Leary,
Timothy Leary.
the LSD guy.
Different guy.
Well, different guy, but there was a note that I didn't include because I didn't care that said he was directly related to like so-and-so of that famous name. So maybe is that famous guy the LSD guy?
14%
Timothy
of all
Leary.
Irishmen and American Irish men are named Timothy Leary. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
fine.
That's fair. But that is the LSD guy's name.
But so Ellen, that's her name, was found. They did an autopsy. They removed a bunch of her organs so that they could continue to study her cause of death, but allow the family to take like her corpse, like her vessel, to cremate and bury.
The
So
pillowcase.
Yeah. So she'd already her empty case had been handed back over to the
I just
family.
did my laundry. I'm sorry. I just
It's
finished
true,
folding
though.
my
It's
laundry.
true. She's like a body pillow, but empty.
The case.
Yes. So
Canyon's
the medical
really
examiner in
gross.
Boston took her organs, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
And he
The pillow.
concluded, she thumbed it to Boston, the corpse. And he concluded in his secondary investigation of the remains that there was salt in her heart's blood, quote-ish,
Okay.
which indicates drowning despite water not being present in the lungs. So I don't fucking know. It's the 30s. Who fucking knows?
That
Sick
doesn't.
days.
I've never heard that before.
Neither have I. It sounds like there's
Sounds
ghosts
like-
in your blood. Do cocaine about it.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
weird. It's not right. But he declared the cause of death as, quote, asphyxia due to probable drowning with nothing to indicate homicide. And the case was closed as an accidental death / possible suicide, though neither her brother nor her ex-husband had any idea why she would take her own life.
I feel
No.
like a lot of dudes in the 30s probably weren't prepared to be like, we don't know.
Yeah.
We can't
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
They had to like make a call.
And obviously, the feelings and
Absolutely.
reactions of grieving loved ones are far from evidence. So even like the ex-husband and the brother being like, I just saw her. She seemed
She was
fine.
Yeah, we don't
How
know.
often do we fucking hear that? You know, in cases of suicide, which is super fucking sad. The truth is also that a lot of attempted and completed suicides are as a result of mounting debts and feeling like you've completely lost control of your life. Like that's pretty like Family Annihilators. This happens.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's a thing.
It's possible. I'm not saying one way or the other, homicide or suicide or accident. I just wish that like the coroner had said, undetermined.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
left it open.
They just wanted to fucking close it up.
Right.
And this poor woman was estranged from her husband and her child. She's bouncing from hotel to hotel without being able to afford it. Yeah. I think she's just trying to figure out how to fucking silence the chaos of her life, and it all got a little bit out of hand. So
it also sounds like she had a drinking problem, so an accident might be more likely, especially if she's like on a fucking boat.
Yeah, under a different name, if that's what she did. I that's kind of what I think happened. I don't think she fell off of the boat, that boat that her pocketbook was found on, but maybe she fucking did. But like, I don't know.
It's possible that she got in, a risky situation with somebody else too. Any of these things are
she's partying, she's having a good
plausible.
Time. They're like, let me take you out on my sailboat.
Let me take you in my submarine. I built it myself.
Accident, homicide,
Natalie
suicide,
Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Or like
it's pretty evenly split in terms of possibilities.
I really don't know. The only thing that's making me what's annoying is that, annoying, but also like I totally respect it. The transcript of whatever was in that letter to the Philadelphia hotel that quote hints at suicide is not released. It's not available. Like I scoured newspapers.com.
Right.
It's not out there. So
maybe that would be a slam dunk for suicide. It would be. I don't know.
But I also don't trust the cops. Certainly not 1930s cops. So I don't fucking know. I don't know. And you know how much I hate an unsolved case, but it just is what it is. Mm-hmm. So that's my case, but I wanted to leave us with some fun facts about Martha's Vineyard, since this is Vineyard Villains after all.
We bookended with fun facts about Martha's Vineyard, like every other true crime podcast.
Yes, because we are a true crime podcast. Well, I sure hope you liked that clip. If you did like that clip, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, leaving us a nice review, and joining us on Patreon for even more video content, audio content, salacious content all around. Come join us. Treat yourself.